Hello everyone and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments in your second video of the day. And this is an OTA that was about one thing, the killing, move, bounce. And I think it probably succeeded in doing that. There's some other changes too. I think about 7 cards in total were changed, but the two big ones are the move, bounce cards that were changed. The first of which is Dagger. Dagger has gone from a 2/0 that gets +3 when it moves to +2 to with +2 power. And this is huge scaling. The first card that changes, it's actually going to, like, if it moves into a spot with one power, one card there, it's actually going to gain a power, but every move thereafter, it's losing power. And considering that this is moving very often twice into cards with 3 and 4 cards, this is going to end up losing 5 to 7 power in many games, which is enough to make a fundamental difference in this card. This was an A or S tier card, one of the only 3 move scalers in the game, and it is now significantly worse. She's still going to be needed for those lists, but she goes from like S tier to B tier, I think. She is significantly worse. In addition, Aranya is changed in a major way. Aranya's change doesn't affect Dagger nearly as much. This one is for Human Torch. It goes from a 1/1 to a 1/2. It still has the same power overall, but now it's giving +1 power instead of giving +2 power with its activate. This is going to fundamentally change Human Torch. In particular, it changes a Human Torch that's hit by another card, like a Human Torch that's hit by a Scorpion, a Cassandra Nova, a Silver Sable, etc., a Hazmat, whatever the case may be, a Bullseye. It used to be very easy to scale that torch back up. Now that's way harder. Torch also just scales significantly smaller now. Remember, we're doubling, right? So starting with extra 1, it turns it to a 3/6, which will then be a 3/12 instead of a 3/16. This power makes major differences because it gets doubled. Human Torch is still probably one of the best cards in the deck and still going to be an S tier card in that deck, but this is another A tier card that I think goes down to a B. This still goes in every one of these decks. I don't think you can afford to change the move cards in these decks, but they're now just worse. They're now just not as effective. This and the Dagger change also make Madam Web a way juicier red Guardian target. If Aranya has 2 power, Dagger has 2 power, there's only one power card in that list. That one power card in the list is Madam Web, which makes Madam Web a real juicy target. I told you this was the best deck for ages. This is probably no longer the best deck. We're going to need to see how much worse this makes the deck, right? There's a swing spot in the list that's probably going to have to start running Penny Parker now as a way to get that extra power because that's still so good on Human Torch. But if we're going to have to see how good this is. I have some very serious questions. I'm really excited to talk to Sizer about it. Sizer is the person who's been #1 forever with move bounce. I will be 100% watching Sizer stream basically as soon as since this has dropped. I'm gonna go hop on Sizer stream and watch and see how this goes. He should be live right now as we're talking. Sizer2654 on Twitch, and I just want to see what this does. I want to see how good this is because my working theory is that move bounce, this list, is significantly worse. Is it dead? No. Is it still going to be able to pop off and put out a million power? Yes. Is it going to be quite as insane? I would be very surprised. I'd be very surprised if this was still the best deck or still even a tier 1 deck. I think that this has been knocked down a full peg. It's possible I'm wrong. This is obviously completely untested at this point, right? I'm assuming that Second Dinner tested it, and before they made the changes, they made sure that this actually knocked it down from being the best to being an also run, which I think is fairly healthy. The problem with this deck is it was so much power and it was so hard to interact with. You were often dealing with like multiple 18 or 32 power Human Torches, which is just too much for a 1 power card on top of everything else, on top of like a 25-point Dagger, a 19-point Vulture, etc. It was just too much power from those cards, and I think taking them down a notch is a major benefit. That is the main and biggest change of the OTA. There are, however, several other changes to talk about, but before we get to them, I'm going to ask you to hit that sub button if you are willing. All you have to do is hit that sub button to help us out and get the best Marvel Snap content in the game. We do at least 2 videos every single day covering competitive Marvel Snap, giving you at least 3 new decks every day. Bottom right of the screen, you will see a YouTube button. You press that button, you're subbed, you help us out, and you get the best decks in return. We do 7 videos a week. There's an OTA this week, so we're doing 8 more Marvel Snap content than anyone in the game. In addition, we're giving away a season pass, not on this video, fair warning. giving a season pass away a season pass, all you have to do is sub, like, and leave a comment. A comment on any video this week enters you to an Iron Patriot, and next week we're going to be giving away five. Yep, you heard that right. Five different copies of the new season pass card, Sam Wilson. So if you want that, please make sure you come back next week and you get that. So you might as well sub so you make sure you don't miss out on that. We're also going to, on either Saturday or Sunday, be doing our giant new card review where we go over all the cards and decks for the new season. We build a bunch of decks for them and we tell you what to will be looking for and how to spend your spotlight caches and keys. All right, Spectrum got a power. She goes from 6'6" to 6'7". The card was a C, maybe even a D, and that probably won't change in the current meta. I don't think she's enough better to actually matter. However, Sam Wilson, Captain America, is coming out in a week, and that is an ongoing card that also puts an ongoing card on the board. That plus two ongoing cards that you can move around for scaling might be enough to make Spectrum a real contender. Is it going to for sure? I have absolutely no idea. I would not be surprised if this plus Wong ended up making Spectrum good. It seems like that's what they're pushing us towards with this buff. I don't expect it to matter now, but check back in a week, and I'm pretty sure we'll have something cooking with this one. The deck that Spectrum goes in right now is the Doom 2099 deck. I don't know if that'll be where it lands later, but this Doom 2099 deck also runs Captain America because buffing a bunch of Doom bots is pretty damn good, right? If you can make the Doom bots big enough to compete, all of a sudden you're getting somewhere. That's a combo that makes sense with Sam Wilson, Captain America 2, who can offer further buffs to the cap and move those that shield around to sort of aim your Doom bots. So I'm expecting double Captain America, double Doom to be a deck. You probably end up cutting either Dazzler or Howard here, and you run Sam Wilson, Captain America, and then I think you should be good to go. This list seems like it's probably really cool and really powerful. This is where I'm going to be starting with this Binks list for the new card Sam Wilson and for the buffed card Spectrum. They also buffed Namora. She went from a 5'6" to a 5'7". She was a B minus C plus card, and she's probably firmly C plus right now. I just don't think she puts out enough power. Move bounce is being gone really helps here because she was embarrassing in a meta that had move bounce. But we still have like the bullseye combo. We still have discard. We still have all the Victoria Hand stuff, right? Victoria Hand is often giving +4 to most of your board. She's giving +5 to at most 2 cards. That means that like Victoria Hand's better, right? She costs 3 less. Victoria Hand costs 3 less. I think the power is nice. This buff is likely because Namora is in spotlights in a week, so they're just giving her a little benefit. She comes in the spotlights the first week of the new season. Again, we will cover that on either Saturday or Sunday's video, so have no fear. I'm not sure what this does in a world where Victoria Hand and Bullseye exist. I just don't think it's going to be good enough. I really like this card. I think it's really fun. It has one good deck, that is this, but I don't think it gets there. This is the only good deck for this card. And honest to God, Namora is a backup plan in it. This is safety's one piece. Your main strategy here is to go Wong into White Tiger, and then either Odin or Sage do some other shenanigans along those lines. If you can get that going, this deck is great. And Namora gives you an okay backup plan because making yourself if you do like Wong White Tiger, then you could do you do Wong Namora, and then you can do a White Tiger in that spot after. And if you hit a Lasher or something, that ends up winning you a lane, and that kind of thing is powerful. I just again don't honestly think it's good enough right now. I wish I was wrong. I wish it was, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think that this Namora buff actually does anything. Sorry to be a downer for the next two changes after move bounce, which is incredible to see nerfed. But hey, if you would like to check out tonight, we'll be recording Snapdragon's podcast, going over these with some amazing guests, Prashawn and Obehave tonight, to talk about these changes and much, much more in Marvel Snap. So if you're interested in that conversation, please check out our Twitch stream tonight, twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. Also, now that we know the OTA, if you're trying to figure out what to spend your new tokens on, you can join, and after the stream, I will be helping people out figure out what the best token pies are. In fact, that might even be the subject of the podcast, you don't say. Okay, next up, we've got Leader. Leader is from 6'3" to a 6'4", and like while the other changes I get the theory of, this one just seems useless. Unless there's some kind of card coming out that absolutely loves him or he absolutely counters, I don't know what the hell we're doing here. This is a D at best. I think it might actually be an F card, and this changes nothing about them. This is a mind-boggling change. It's another card that's okay-ish in Doom 2099 lists, but unless you're playing a bunch of Doom 2099 mirrors, I just don't want this, right? This feels like kind of a crap card. I don't like it. The only place I've seen it in ages is this Owie list, and honestly, I think the Big Slicks list we looked at is better. So I don't know what we're even doing here. Next up, we have Sandman, who goes from a 5/7 to a 5/8. And Sandman is better than people think, right? Like, it was too little for Move Bounce. Move Bounce would just drop a couple 18 power cards even after a Sandman and be like, too bad. But, like, he's probably okay, right? The discard lists aren't going to be terrible. The swarms at hand still are ones, so like everything still works. He's more annoying than very strong, but there could be something good if you're also running Mobius in the same list. I did have an extraordinarily successful deck, one of my most successful decks ever, that I stopped playing around last season, that ran Sandman as a very powerful card. It was this Desperate Jill deck that I just kept winning with forever. It was so strong. I don't think this list really works anymore, but Sandman was an integral piece, particularly when you could go Mobius Wiccan Sandman, right? That was just a lot of power that made your opponent have a very hard time winning games of Snap against you. If that still works, that can work. I would be very surprised if this list puts up enough power for the current meta. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but uh, but Sandman is better now, right? Like that extra power isn't nothing. It's just that nothing else here really matters. Season pass question. Again, if you're looking to win that Iron Patriot, what's your OTA review? What do you think of this OTA? Also, don't forget tonight. All right. Ms. Marvel gets buffed. Again, she's in spotlights right now. She is still a power crept away. She goes from a 4/4 to a 4/5. She is still a power crept away. She was a D tier card. I think she is a D tier card unless Cerebro 5 is back. Spoiler, Cerebro 5 is not back. Cerebro 5 is not a real deck. I'd guess this is to make you feel a little less terrible to get in spotlights, but maybe there's a deck with this Spectrum and Sam Wilson Captain America because it's an ongoing. Again, I don't expect that. I think this is just bad. Our friend Ryan Wood has this deck called Everlasting Arms that tries to basically go Ms. Marvel, Onslaught, and then Mystique that Ms. Marvel. But straight up, Mr. Fantastic right now I think is a better card, even with significantly less power. I don't like Ms. Marvel. I don't know what else to say about it. I think this card is really bad. It could go back to only one unique cost at each location and probably be totally okay. Next up, we have the last change. Told you this was a small one. It is Luna Snow, who goes from a 3/5 to a 3/6. I think this one may actually matter. If I had to pick a change that's most likely to affect the meta outside of the Spectrum one, and I don't think the Spectrum one's going to matter because of Spectrum, I think the Spectrum one's going to matter because of Sam Wilson. I think this change might actually matter. 6 is a lot of power on a 3, and since she takes up that extra spot that sometimes you can't do anything with, her own power matters a lot. She keeps almost finding homes. I think this can push her over the top. I had her at a D, but I think she's probably going to move up to a C. I could even see her being a B. I wrote D there, sorry. I could even see her being a B down the line with this change. I do think this change is going to matter. It could be Cerebro 6, which we know is a sort of real deck right now. Not like amazing, but it's semi-real with I lost the name of the card now. It's semi-real with Moonstone in it. So there's that as a way, like that having some extra energy seems pretty good. And that list was like almost real. So perhaps Luna Snow matters there. Perhaps Luna Snow matters in Silver Surfer. I think she could be decent. There's also this mill list that Fudge has been playing, and Fudge is like 500 with it. It's like not a huge win rate deck, but he's up a ridiculous amount of cubes, like hundreds of cubes with this list, and he's in the top 20. So like this is clearly a cube stealer, and I think Luna makes a lot of sense here because you're running Killmonger and Lady Deathstrike along with Misery in the list, so you can fill that location really well. You can clog the opponent for an extra turn that they're not ready for. You can do all sorts of really powerful things with that card, which I think gives it some extra use. Being able to go Luna straight into Lady Deathstrike gives you an answer to some decks that you otherwise wouldn't have an answer to. Being able to go Luna into Killmonger and Fenris, for example, is a very powerful play that lets you get that extra card out. It also lets you go Fenris and Misery on turn 5, which is very powerful, like not in the same lane, right? But you can Fenris or Misery off that hood and stuff, and you can get Fenris out, which is going to give you all that extra leeway to do stuff. I think that this is a really cool variation on the deck that, again, has stolen a lot of cubes, and this would be my guess for best Luna home because I think Mill is one of the best decks in the game, and I think the bounce move change just makes it even better. That's it. That's the OTA. This was a little one, but again, I think the meta is going to be wide open because I think the best deck is gone, and that's going to change things more than you think because a lot of the meta was in response to the very best deck. If you're interested in checking out our Patreon, check out patreon.com/snapjudgments, where we have the following patrons: Thank you to Abigail Geeson, Matt Burnett, Irregardless, David G. Wingfield, Dirty Casual, LAB, Fafner Newman, Inc., I Am Frostman, Hota Navarrete, YOLO Potato, Thinking Poker, Primed Ryan, Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood, Woody, we just saw you. Kertix Lee, Koi Ray, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Parafrost, The Goat Seer, Hollowed, Only Fox Synth, Quid Pro Joe, Snapsis is Joe, Fat Nick, Nick the Greek Geek, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Ginger Prime, Philip Brakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Biz Up, Black Jeebus 23, Extra Sweet and Skippy G, Jessica Gamble, Slush Death, King of Bros, Bro, The Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Kev Ziota, Ludacris, Corbin, John Q, Jim McHugh, Clam, Colonel Forbin, Yistout, Ren, Wrench, 8th, Sage, Monster Pre-Models, The Green Goblin, Unibot, UD, Flan 56, Steven, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B, M. Holland, The Fuzzy Dot, Spectrumix, Hood, Matt V, Matt H, DJ, Mackie Hijinks, No Freaking Flex, High Killers, Mr. Craig Sterry, BG, Zodrex, The King of Canada, Den, Man, Falcon, Jonesy, and don't forget tomorrow night to check out Buddy Leans at Buddy Snaps YouTube for a great tournament game from Jonesy, the great Two Ties, our friend Laura Debs, the Pirate King Tucker, and of course Gunny T, where the T stands for. All right, let's chat about the meta quickly. So a lot of the meta was in response to what could be played in a bounce move meta, and taking out bounce move I think is going to shift things. I also think that we're not quite sure what the best point deck is going to be now. Are people going to run Mobius to counter the bullseye stuff? If not, does that end up the best, or is there enough Red Guardian Enchanters to counter that? Does the Victoria Hand take off? Well, now we have two things Enchantress answers. Does Enchantress have a home outside of Galacta Wiccan decks? Can Arishem come back because of this? I think we are about to look at an extraordinarily wide open meta. Tomorrow's video is going to be my predicted top 10 decks in Marvel Snap for this new meta, including some changes and great weekend mission decks. So make sure you check that out. You can hit that sub button at the middle of the screen, and then the left and the right have some more great Marvel Snap videos. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and watching this video. I'll see you either tonight on stream or tomorrow morning in the next Snap Take. Peace.